covering the entire Piedmont Triad and everywhere you are. This is WXII 12 News at 5.
Right now on WXII 12 News at 5, the deal or no deal blame game continues in Washington as the debt ceiling deadline looms.
An animal seized from a home on North Carolina's coast getting treatment here in the Triad. But first, a local judge is talking to WXII 12 News after returning from a controversial protest held over the weekend in the nation's capital.
This video from Sunday shows protesters taking barricades set up at veterans memorials and dumping them in front of the north lawn of the White House. The memorials are closed due to the government shutdown. Park police summoned riot gear, came out to separate the protesters from the fence. Randolph County District Judge Rob Wilkins was there. He talked to our Rob Wu about his participation. It's a story all new at 5 o'clock.
Cam and Wanda, Rob Wilkins said he went to Washington, D.C. not as a judge, but as a citizen and veteran of the military, a personal statement voicing his displeasure with the government shutdown.
I was outraged, as were a lot of other veterans.
The son of a World War II paratrooper and a Coast Guard veteran himself, the closing of the national memorials left Wilkins fuming. It compelled him to drive to the nation's capital this weekend. There he helped remove barricades from the sites honoring America's heroes. The more extreme behavior and disparaging remarks about the president, things he says he did not witness with the group of vets he was around. But the presence of politicians at what was designed to be an apolitical event was off-putting. For him and many others, this symbolic gesture was incredibly personal, one he was willing to risk arrest for.
So I grew up learning to respect and obey the law and to respect and obey orders of those appointed over me. So for me, this was somewhat out of character, but honestly, sometimes there comes times in our lives when we have to stand up and do the right thing, even if it might be technically some sort of violation.
Wilkins says his day job of district court judge was irrelevant in his decision to take part. As a private citizen, he'd do it again if he felt the calling. I'm Rob Wu, WXII 12 News.
On this day 15 of the government shutdown, optimism over a compromise has ceased as the White House has rejected a House proposal to reopen the government. The White House says the proposal was full of, quote, conservative priorities. Meanwhile, Senate negotiations have also been frozen. Time is running out. The Treasury Department will hit its borrowing limit in 2 days.
There have been no decisions about what exactly we will do. But we're going to continue to work with our members on both sides of the aisle to try to make sure that there's no issue of default and to get our government reopened.
Those were just temporary fixes, but the Senate plan required a committee to hammer out a larger budget compromise by mid-December.
Because of the government shutdown, state officials have suspended the Work First program in North Carolina. This federally funded program provides welfare assistance for the unemployed. The Department of Health and Human Services says for the time being, it will no longer take new applications nor renew current program participants. Work First served 21,000 people in September and distributed nearly $5 million in aid. In Greensboro, a small group held a protest outside of Congressman Howard Coble's office. The grassroots group Organizing for Action is calling for Congress to reopen the government and pay its bills. About 5 people showed up for that demonstration.
2 children continue to recover from injuries they suffered in a crash that killed their mother. The accident happened yesterday morning at the intersection of Highway 704 and Highway 89 in Stokes County. The Highway Patrol says Tabitha McMillan was running late to take her kids to school when she lost control and crashed. Her 6-year-old son Seth Hager and 9-year-old daughter Cheyenne Smith were rushed to Wake Forest Baptist, where at last check they were in stable condition. The children attend Francisco Elementary in Westfield.
An 88-year-old woman injured in a crash on I-77 last week has died. According to the Highway Patrol, Betsy Montgomery passed away Friday, hours after that crash near the Surrey County line. The accident involved a Cadillac and a Honda Civic, and it backed up traffic for hours.
Right now, we have new information about a deadly house fire in Davidson County. Authorities have released the name of the victim as well as the cause. Firefighters say 80-year-old Betty Lou Hilton died in the fire that broke out yesterday morning on Rich Hilton Road in the Pilot community. Authorities say an electrical malfunction sparked that fire. Her daughter-in-law, 61-year-old Deborah Hilton, remains at Wake Forest Baptist. We are following a developing story out of Memphis, Tennessee, where a law enforcement officer has been shot. It happened this afternoon on the city's south side. At this time, authorities say the suspect has barricaded himself in a home. The injured officer is part of a specially trained team that responds to emergency situations. No word on the extent of his injuries.
Dozens of animals, including dogs, chickens, and goats, were seized from a North Carolina home last week, and they're now getting the help and nourishment they need right here in the Triad. We get more on that story tonight from Veronica White in Greensboro.
Almost 100 animals that were rescued from a Pender County home recently are here at the Guilford County Animal Shelter now. They're recovering, but the director says many have a long way to go before being adopted. They got the 56 dogs, 41 chickens, and a goat Wednesday after they were taken from a suspected puppy mill. The Humane Society called the shelter because they're rescue partners. If animal control in the area can't handle the volume, they call partners like this one. This is the largest group of animals the shelter has had come in at once in about a year. Since the group is so big and many of the animals have serious health issues, they need as many monetary donations and food and other items as well. They also need volunteers to groom, walk, teach, and spend time with the animals. And eventually they'll need foster homes and permanent homes, but it'll be at least between 2 and 8 weeks before they're adoptable.
We have some dogs that have severe dental. We have tumors, skin allergies, flea infestation, eye surgeries, and things like that that need to be done. And the socialization is going to be a big thing too. If you want to adopt one of these dogs, you really have to have patience because you have to teach them how to walk on a leash. There's different skills you need to have to acclimate a puppy mill dog into your family.
If you'd like to donate, go to susiesfund.com. In Greensboro, Veronica White, WXII 12 News.
Well, after several days of gray skies, we got to see a good bit of sunshine today. Short-lived, though, as clouds are already rolling back into the picture. You're looking live over Yadkinville this afternoon, early this evening. Our temperatures this afternoon made it into the low 70s. The official high in Greensboro, 72. We are currently at 70 degrees. Greensboro and Burlington, low 70s from Asheboro over to Yadkinville at 71 degrees and some 60s along the high country. Hillsville at 64 and North Wilkesboro right now at 68 degrees. If you've got plans this evening, not to worry. There may be a few clouds around, but no wet weather in the immediate forecast. Our temperatures are mild in the evening, upper 60s, dropping down into the 50s. You can see that cloud deck rolling in from the west. Along with that comes a chance of rain. I'll tell you when you can expect that and the cooler temperatures that will come behind it later on.
Today, the state Supreme Court heard arguments in a case that could have an impact on thousands of children in North Carolina for years to come.
At issue whether pre-kindergarten should be made available to all 4-year-olds in the state. Margaret Johnson is live in the newsroom now with that story.
Wanda and Cameron, NC Pre-K serves more than 27,000 at-risk children, and tonight, local providers are anxiously awaiting the High Court's ruling. They worry a ruling against Pre-K may lead to the complete dismantling of the program statewide. At the Child Care Network in Louisville, where teachers are getting some of those 4-year-olds ready for kindergarten, they tell me they're scared. We are also hearing from the mom of 4-year-old Grant Pimkowitz. She says her son is thriving in Pre-K, and she can't imagine losing out on those benefits.
As a parent, I want the best for my child, and this was an exceptional opportunity for my child to have.
And the mere thought of all of this possibly going away.
My heart dropped.
You know, these children are our life. That's why we're here. And it just makes me sick inside to know that it could go away.
Well, 2 years ago, a lower court judge said the state could not put up barriers to keep qualified children out of the program. And now state lawyers trying to overturn that decision are arguing in the Supreme Court that no judge should have the right to dictate policy to the governor or the General Assembly. We'll let you know how this all turns out. Back to you.
Thanks, Margot. A North Carolina gay couple had their marriage license accepted today. Brenda Clark and Carol McCrory, who've been together for 25 years, requested the license from the Buncombe County Register of Deeds. Register of Deeds says he'll send the request to the Office of Attorney General Roy Cooper. Cooper says although he personally supports gay marriage, he'll still defend the state's constitutional ban against it.
A local nonprofit has pledged more than $600,000 in funding to help inform North Carolinians about the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. The Kate B. Reynolds Charitable Trust, based in Winston-Salem, made that donation to help better inform low-income, Spanish-speaking, and rural North Carolinians about their new insurance options. A lot of that money will go towards Enroll America, a nonprofit working to give uninsured North Carolinians health coverage. A new report shows that teen pregnancy in North Carolina is now at a historic low. The rate fell 10% last year. The data showing that fewer than 4% of 15 to 19-year-old girls in North Carolina got pregnant in 2012. North Carolina also saw reduced pregnancies among girls of all racial and ethnic backgrounds.
Right now, there is a new movement in North Carolina to keep teenagers safe behind the wheel. The State Highway Patrol is teaming up with Brakes, which stands for Be Responsible and Keep Everyone Safe, to provide new teen drivers with knowledge about the dangers of driving. They're trying to reduce the number of crashes involving inexperienced drivers. To kick off this new effort, Brakes is holding four-hour courses at the Highway Patrol driving facility in Raleigh next month. And for more information, just click over to WXII12.com.
South Carolina deputies on the wrong side of the law tonight after investigators say he assaulted a woman last night at a Buffalo Wild Wings in Columbia. 49-year-old Richland County Deputy Paul Derrick's accused of handcuffing the woman, who is a soldier at Fort Jackson, and then slamming her head onto a table. According to authorities, Derrick was at the bar off duty when he went up to the woman, who appeared to be upset. Authorities say the two got into an argument, and that's when they say Derrick left, then came back with his handcuffs. They say that Derrick had been drinking.
A Davidson County man is facing charges tonight, accused of assaulting his wife and a deputy who came to her rescue. 43-year-old Kenneth McBride is accused of slamming his wife's hand on a door at the couple's home on Sherman Drive in Lexington. Deputies say when they tried to arrest him, he bit one of them on the hand. He's being held with no bond.
Helping put a stop to domestic violence, coming up what one area hospital is doing to help victims.
And an effort in the Carolinas to get a sunken yacht out of the water.
Plus, you can expect some daytime closures on I-40 tomorrow. I'll show you where when we come right back.